What up, Internet? It's your boy, the Notorious B.I.V. And we got to talk Wandavision, baby. And so, I didn't want to do. I got sick of doing each episode, so I just figured I'll just do the last 3 episodes all at once, and that's what I'm doing. So, I am Disney free, by the way. Now, I did cancel my subscription immediately after watching Wandavision today, and it feels good. So suck it, Disney. Boom. You're not giving any more of my money to China. So how you like that? Anyway, yeah. So Wandavision, it was pretty good. I've actually like made my rounds to all the streaming services now. I started out with like a 30-day, like a free subscription to Amazon, and I watched. I looked around. That was back when they had like Man from the High Castle when that was out, and that was pretty good. But like they didn't really have much of anything else, and I was just kind of like, okay. I canceled my free 30 days. And said, okay, I'm done with that. I'll try Netflix. Tried Netflix for a while, and it was, Netflix is decent. Netflix is Netflix, right? But then I ended up finally, like when Disney Plus came out, I was like, I want to watch the Marvel shows, and I'd gotten to the point on Netflix where it's like I would look at my saved list, and I was just like, no, I don't want to watch any of this stuff, So, yeah. So then I canceled that, went to Disney Plus. Now I'm done with Disney Plus. So, yeah. Maybe I'll try out HBO Max or something next when the Snyder Cut comes out or something. I don't know. Anyway, yeah, I'm not even waiting for Falcon and Winter Soldier. I'm just done. I'm just like, forget it. So there you go. Cancel your Disney Plus if you haven't already. Anyway, WandaVision. So episode 7 was I think it was the same length, but we finally got like a post-credit scene, which was nice. I just think the episodes are way too short, honestly. Especially when they're doing this stupid like weekly release thing. It just bugs the crap out of me. You wait a week for like a half an hour episode, 28-minute episode. It's just like, come on, man, seriously, and it doesn't benefit us at all. It doesn't benefit the viewer at all. It only benefits, it just benefits Disney, right? Because they get to keep their, they get to keep they get to keep themselves in the forefront of everyone's minds, right? They get to stay in the conversation week after week after week instead of like dropping all the episodes at once, which they should do, and then everyone talks about it, and then we're on to the next thing, right? So I get why they do it, but it doesn't benefit the consumer at all, and it's just lame. Come on, man, it's like friggin' 2021. Are you kidding me? Weekly release schedule BS, man. It's ridiculous. So, maybe if the episodes were a little longer, or like I said, the last 3 episodes had post-credit scenes, which was kind of nice. That helped out a little bit. So episode 7, though, so in episode 7, basically, like, Monica got her powers, right? And, that was kind of cool. I never really, I don't know why Monica was really in the series, honestly. She didn't even really use her superpowers or anything. It's like, why was she there? Why did we need another superhero there in that role? And I never really bought. And again, this is a problem with the weekly release schedule, right? Because maybe I've forgotten some stuff. You forget stuff from week to week, but Monica, I never really bought her like devotion to Wanda. For like, why was she so devoted to Wanda? Like, oh, I know she's innocent or whatever, you know, like I never really got why she had that, why they had that connection, other than like it was just written into the story, you know what I mean? Um, and so, and again, maybe if I went back and watched all the episodes, maybe I'd get more of a feel for why, you know, maybe I forgot some stuff, like I said, but, and you know, you do from week to week. It's like, oh, what happened in the last episode, you know? But overall, just, you know, I watched all these a single time, and you know, I was just like, why is she so, you know, why is she so devoted to Wanda? Like, it didn't really make any sense. I mean, in the very end, she was kind of like, you know, she said something like, "Oh, if I had your power, I would have brought back my mom," you know, whatever. Um, right? I mean, like she'd lost her mom, and Wanda had lost Vision, and so there was that kind of empathy, I guess. But other than that, it just, I don't know, it didn't really work for me. And again, you know, that character Photon that Maria Monica Rambeau is in the comics. I mean, she is like she is kind of associated with the Avengers, and uh, you know, and Scarlet Witch and Vision by extension, I guess. So I guess she fits in that regard. But again, I think it would have just been better to have her, you know, be in the Captain Marvel 2, right? It would have made more sense to me, I think. I didn't think her character had a whole lot to do in the show. So, you know, same with Darcy though too. I mean, Darcy's character was just kind of along for the ride. You know, Jimmy Woo came in at the very end. You know, he called in the cavalry or whatever, called in the FBI. So those characters were just kind of meh. Okay. Um, I don't know, especially Darcy and Monica though. I just didn't think they had a whole lot to do. And you know, it was hinted. So you know, at the very end of episode 9, we saw that you know, that Monica is going to be involved with the. It was hinted that she's going to be involved with the Skrulls and Nick Fury and Sword in space. You know, in space where Nick Fury is, I guess. So that was, you know, that's kind of cool. They've got some, you know, they've got a future direction for that character. So maybe she'll actually get something to do in the next series or movie or whatever. Um, but so that was episode 7. At the end of episode 7, of course, you know, we find out that that Agatha is, you know, Agnes. Agnes is Agatha Harkness, and she is a character from the comics. Oh, I was gonna say too, Monica Rambeau's powers in the comics are she can like change herself into different forms of energy and stuff like light and things like that. But anyway, we find out that Agnes is a big bad witch, and she's behind. You know, she's been trying to. So she's one of the townspeople. She's the only townsperson that like that, that knows what's going on, right? She's just pretending like she's under, you know, under Wanda's spell or whatever, but she wasn't the whole time, and uh, and so that was kind of cool. You know, she was behind uh, the fake Pietro. You know, she and at the end of episode 7, I was still like, so who is Pietro? Like who's this guy? You know, I thought maybe she created him or something, or like, you know, like he was her familiar or something, like her rabbit, you know. But that wasn't the case. It wasn't really clear in episode at the end of episode 7. But episode 8, of course, we find out a little more, and Agatha is basically trying to figure out, you know, like what's Scarlet Witch's deal, and that was a little bit of a that episode was a little bit of a slog. I think they could have tightened it up a little bit. It was Wanda's little backstory and everything. You know, like yeah, it kind of just went through her whole backstory from when she was a little kid to now, and what's happening with her deal here. And I think the takeaway from that is that a lot of people were wondering if they were going to have if this was going to lead to mutants in the Marvel universe, and um, and in fact, we find out that Wanda is basically a mutant, right? We find out that when she was a little girl, like she had her magic powers already when she was a little girl, and that. So then when she encountered the Mind Stone or whatever, the reason it killed like the first however many volunteers, right? That went in there to get zapped by it or whatever, and the reason it didn't kill her is because she already had these powers, right? And it just enhanced them, and so she's essentially a mutant. It's not explicitly stated, but she's basically had her powers since she was a little girl, right? So that's kind of cool. I didn't think they'd do any like overt like X-Men stuff in this, and I'm kind of glad they didn't, because it was already pretty packed with stuff. I don't think we needed any more things other than what happened. But so she's a mutant basically, right? It wasn't explicitly stated, but we can kind of infer that now. Kind of laid that groundwork, and at the end of episode 8, of course, we I guess the big shocker was that that was a pretty good twist, by the way. Finding out that she didn't actually take Vision's body, and that Swords had the body the whole time, and we find out that they've put him back together and used some of her residual power to like power him up. So that was kind of cool. That was a good twist. I didn't really see that coming. I just thought, oh yeah, she took his body and reanimated it or whatever. But that's not the case. So that was kind of a cool twist at the end, in that end credit scene. And so then we come to episode friggin' 9. So, well, I guess in episode 8 we also got Agatha's backstory, right? Which, it was just kind of, it was a backstory, I guess. And also in episode 8 as well, they did clear up why Wanda is into these. They show that she's been into these little sitcom things since she was a kid, and like it's her way of escaping kind of and stuff. So that was kind of cool. I still don't think they resolved it though to my satisfaction, because it still bugs me that like why was she making an actual show? Like I can see her living in a show, right? And just like experiencing it that way. But how can, like, why is she like producing an entire show and broadcasting it to the outside world? That doesn't make any damn sense to me. Unless, like I said, but I mean, again, I'm filling in the blanks here. Like they never really state why that is. But I'm kind of like, well, maybe that was like her cry for help, right? She's like broadcasting this signal out there, kind of subconsciously, hoping someone will find it, and like rescue her or whatever, which is what ended up happening. So okay, sure, but it was just weird to me. Like, how would she even know how to produce a show, right? I mean, I know she has magic powers and whatever, but how can you, how would you? I don't know. It's just too meta, right? It's like 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 is she like lining up shots and like cameras, angles, and and edit and splicing stuff together? That just didn't work for me at all, and they never really resolved that, unfortunately. But but they did give us a little backstory on why why sitcoms, right? So episode 9, the big finale. Of course, Agatha just wants wants to absorb Wanda's power, basically. That's what she does, like, right? She, like, sucked all the power out of her fellow witches back in the day, and now she wants Scarlet Witch's powers. But we find out that Scarlet Witch is the Scarlet Witch, which we already knew. But basically the Scarlet Witch is this, mystical figure that's talked about in the Darkhold, which makes an appearance here. The Darkhold they did it in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They had the Darkhold, and I don't know, it's funny, like, at the end of this episode, you're watching Wanda, like, studying the Darkhold, and I'm like, I don't know, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. they said, like, any mortal person that looks at it goes insane, basically. So I don't know how Scarlet Witch is doing it, but because she's the Scarlet Witch. Okay, sure. Anyway, it was funny, though, in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., like, it was like this book, and it said Darkhold on it, like, in this, like, this font. It had, like, the Darkhold font on the cover of the book. I'm just like, okay, that's weird. So this version of the Darkhold looked a little more just like an ancient book, right? So that was cool. But the Darkhold's is like an MCU thing. It's like it surfaces from time to time, and it's a book of magic. I think it also has like some interdimensional type properties that it can like create gates and things like that. Anyway, so that makes an appearance here, and so Scarlet Witch has her fight with Agatha, and I thought, and that was pretty clever. I liked that fight. I liked how she did the runes, right? That Agatha tipped her off about, right? Agatha used runes against Scarlet Witch in episode 8, and then Scarlet Witch turned the tables, which is pretty sweet. And Scarlet Witch's powers, by the way, in the comics, basically, like, so she's a mutant in the comics, but she has her mutant ability is just like this latent ability to manipulate magic, basically. Whereas other people, like Agatha or Doctor Strange, for example, they have to actually like cast spells. They have to like do incantations and things like that to wield magic. So Scarlet Witch, just her mutant power is like she just innately can use magic, is the deal in the comics. So it's pretty accurate to what they showed here. So she used runes against Agatha, which is kind of cool. I wondered though, like, so she had the runes like on the walls of the hex or whatever, right? And I'm just like, but then like the hex went away, so I don't know how she keeps Agatha in check, because she kind of, like, the runes aren't there anymore, right? Because the hex isn't there anymore. So I don't know how that works, or the bubble, I guess, whatever you want to call it. So, but yeah, so she beats Agatha. Vision has a brief fight with his doppelganger, I guess, and that was kind of cool. He defeated his doppelganger with the power of logic, which was awesome. That was kind of cool. And they kind of did a reverse thing from the comics. So in the comics, Vision, basically, he was built by Ultron in the comics, and Ultron used the brain patterns of this other dude, Wonder Man, this other superhero, and imprinted those on Vision. So like Vision and Wonder Man are basically, they're like twin brothers, kind of. They have the same personality, the same brain patterns or whatever. But they kind of did that in this show, where Vision kind of imprinted his brain patterns or his memories or whatever onto the new Vision. So it was kind of weird. I don't know why. Like the White Vision just disappeared. He like after they had their little conversation and Vision passes on his memories or whatever. Then like we never see the White Vision again. So I don't know. That was kind of weird to me. He just disappeared. But I imagine we'll see him again, and obviously he'll be the Vision, right? He'll have the Vision's memories and thoughts and feelings and all that stuff. So I guess I think that's how we're gonna get Vision back at some point, right? In the MCU. So that's pretty cool. I liked that. And of course the twin boys got to have their little use their powers or whatever. But of course they're gone now. And Vision was just kind of was just a manifestation of her memory of Vision. She says the piece of the Mind Stone that resides in me, is who you are, basically, right? Like he's her, her version of Vision, right? So that was kind of cool. And I thought it was funny too, like Hayward. So like Hayward is the villain for some reason, right? He's the villain, but like, and he's gonna go to jail for being evil or whatever. But Scarlet Witch just gets off scot-free for her friggin' crimes against humanity, right? Like she's imprisoned all these people mentally in her little like play world for however long it was, and that was kind of odd to me too. Like they never really explained. I mean, those people all lived in Westview, right? It's not like she like brought them in there. Like they already lived there. So like why are they saying, oh, I have a husband on the outside, like you gotta, or like a daughter that I haven't seen or whatever, like they had that stuff going on. And I'm like, if they live here, why aren't their daughters and husbands here with them? Like, that was weird to me. But yeah, but basically, Scarlet Witch just like friggin' took over these people's lives for however long it was, a couple months or whatever. That's pretty heinous when you think about it, and she just like, I'm a superhero, so I'll just like fly off and, go my merry way. Okay, whatever. And then Hayward's like, oh, Hayward's the bad guy. He's going to prison. I think that's kind of weird. It kind of bugs me. It bugged me too in Iron Man. In Iron Man 3, when he's like wandering around, like with his all the devices he made from Home Depot, and he's like friggin' wandering around the bad guy's compound, like killing bad guys and stuff. And I'm like, like it was just one of those weird moments, right? Where like if he was dressed as Iron Man, it'd be like, oh yeah, okay, he's Iron Man, like beating the bad guys. But then like when you see him just like as a civilian, just walking around like, killing bad guys with a nail gun or whatever, I'm just like, wouldn't there be some legal repercussions here? That's just a little weird. But same thing here with Wanda. It's like she just gets off scot-free basically. And I mean, I guess she was already technically an outlaw, kind of, when she took Captain America's side or whatever. And and then in what was it, in the Infinity War, she comes. We see she and Vision and Captain America and Black Widow have all been like hiding out. They're all outlaws. They're all wanted or whatever. So I guess she's still just kind of an outlaw, right? But we see her in her little Nordic getaway there at the end, and she's studying the Darkhold. So I guess she's gonna hone her powers. And she, I loved her costume. Her costume was way cool. Like, when she got her little tiara and her, yeah, she looked dang good. That was a cool part. I hate how they're like, oh, she's even more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme. Like, why do we have to play that game? I hate when they're like, this character's more powerful than this character. It's like, can we just like, do we have to play that game? Like, why is that? Why do they do that? They were doing that back, when they were saying Captain Marvel is more powerful than Thor and stuff like that. And it's just like, do we really need to compare everybody? Can't we just like all have our powers and be, anyway, have our little niches and all get along? Anyway, it was interesting. It didn't really explicitly set up the Doctor Strange movie, which apparently Wanda's going to be in the Doctor Strange movie, and I'm kind of glad that it didn't do that. This needed to be kind of self-contained, and I appreciate it doing that. So she'll be in the Doctor Strange movie, with her full costume and her powers now. That's cool, but it didn't. But like we didn't have Doctor Strange in it. There wasn't like a cliffhanger ending. I guess there was a slight cliffhanger. Like we heard, I think when she's sitting there studying the Darkhold, and then we hear, I think it was her kids, right, saying "Mommy, Mommy," and she's like, psh, like goes to save her kids or whatever. So that's kind of cool. Anyway, that's it. That's WandaVision. It was good. I think it was pretty tight. Again, I don't like the weekly release schedule. And Falcon and Winter Soldier are going to be a little bit longer episodes, I believe. So that might be good. Again, though, I canceled my Disney Plus. If I want to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier, maybe I'll watch it at my parents' house or something. They have Disney Plus, but it's just, I don't know. I'm not feeling it anymore, really. I mean, I like the MCU, but we'll see. Anyway, guys, thanks for listening. And my next video will actually feature Hip Hoppa. That's right. He's gonna be back. So I hope y'all look forward to that, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.